My father was born in Pāhau, Hikuwai, in 1933. His influences at the time were his nannies, Ngoi Pewhairangi, Tuini Ngāwai, and being brought up in the Ringatu faith, they all were. So they lived together, they shared together, they ate together, they sang together, they did kabahaka together. He was in Te Hoko Whituatu when he was 9. He was, as the hako, he was influenced heavily by his tipuna, who also were devout Ringatu followers. And so in his home, it was Ringatu karakia, it was the knock on the wall, and they knew, yes, ka tīma te karakia. And he was moulded in ways. Sometimes even in his sleep, he would hear the karakia going on. So in those times where our tipuna passed knowledge on, that transmission came through just being around your tipuna. It wasn't a classroom as such, but it became a form of a classroom of passing down and transmitting knowledge, ngā taonga tuku iho. When he went to Te Aute College, and friends of his were part and parcel of saying, oh, I'm going to Te Aute, so he was going to Te Aute, that he saw the Mihinare side. And being at Te Aute and being amongst the Mihinare followers, even though they knew he was Ringatu, he became embraced. He embraced his Mihingaretanga as well. And his best friends, Api Mahuika and Hopa Keelan, were moving on to St. John's, and he wanted to go with them. And so he too went with them to St. John's, and at the age of 21 he enters St. John's College, Theological College, and at the age of 25 he becomes a priest. And all through that, though, was his Māoritanga. That was the background, that was his canvas on which he grew up with, and he wasn't going to change that at all. There were times when he would question the Lord. Hey, I'm this, you made me this, but I'm not able to fit it into this box. For instance, in the 1960s, the organ was the thing to play, and hymns were sung with the organ. Well, my father brings out the guitar, and that was part of him. And he kept playing it in the church. There were some who were, oh, you can't take a guitar into there, that's a party instrument. But he continued taking it. And for him it was, well, I can carry a guitar easier than I can carry an organ. And he continued to play the guitar, and now the organ is kind of dead. With respect, I say this. And it's like, hey, where's your guitar? You've got to take a guitar to church. It's the opposite has happened nowadays, and people seem to prefer to have that guitar there than not have a guitar there. He also he wasn't ashamed to take his haka into the altar, in front of the altar. He wasn't ashamed to sing Māori songs in the church, but rather embraced them with the people, because for him it was doing the best that he could with the gifts that he was given for God and express that. And he wasn't about to be a fraud to other people and do something that wasn't him. And there were some battles and some walls that were put up, but he was one that would wear his collar and haka, not wear his collar and haka. He was a man of God and a man of haka, and he embraced both in his walk in life. He was a priest at the age of 25 till the day he passed away, and he carried those gifts and talents that was in him, and everywhere he went, whether it be at a marae, a school, a church, in the community, at a hall, he expressed who he was. I come back to, he believed that God gave him the gifts and talents he was born to do on the earth while he was alive. And one of them was to haka, and one of them was to sing, but in a peaceful way, if I could say it like that, because there's an inner strength that one, and being in control of that inner strength and that energy to express oneself and to express who you are in it, that when he did a haka in front of the altar, beside the altar, it was to acknowledge his maker, to acknowledge God as being the one who gave him those gifts and acknowledging him in it. I would think that for those who are coming, the next generation, I'd like to share that you can embrace both your Māoritanga, your Karaitianatanga, in the person that you are, in the one. There's no need to separate just because you're Māori, or be someone you're not to fit into the box. Just be who you are and embrace that and share that in your faith journey with others.